more USB stick for. You do have to do it for this computer because that's working live. So I also I may have a drive. If you don't know, if you don't, I have one. Yeah, I usually always keep it just in case. Yeah. Anyway, did I brief on this? Yes, yeah, it's just a very.
I got to pay attention to that.
Make sure I've set it after being in.
It's interesting, there's some great years.
Otherwise, it's just like two that she was so bad.
Growing too fast. I got you.
You don't know what's going on. I can just use this as long as I can. There's a spot there. I can plug it right in there. I'm just gonna throw it on this.
Yeah, right.
You're just score helps me.
Check 1 2.
I've seen.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's great.
It's like some lights on.
It's a beautiful project.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome for the community.
Turn on the lights.
So they want to.
And the station is such a great.
And I love that it's still almost like it's still got like the banged up,
Yeah.
the doors there.
For the two presenters here today, when you're presenting, you try to stay between this podium and that edge of the screen. I got the live stream.
Yep.
So that's the one. And the microphone is not for the folks in the room, so you see the wall.
Okay.
So it's just because they can't really.
No problem.
Okay. And then he's gonna do an event center there where the old farm is and all that, that'll be.
Good.
Yeah.
Story of my life.
Everybody knows
Welcome to
we're still waiting on.
When they sign the contract and then they're like, you're 50% out of the cost.
We're gonna talk about 3 minutes.
And now I have a policy to say, yeah, we're not doing that. Like, I can't go below.
Bless you.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, we're.
Exactly. I know.
First.
But they
Okay.
saw the problem.
Yeah.
I'm Jennifer.
Mine's this week.
Yeah, I've got two. One at Penn State, one senior high school. 17 months last week.
Yeah.
Friday night, down at Truman High School. It's a in-person team weekend as well.
Just pull it up first.
This is a
Yeah,
up there.
Monday through Thursday this week. Yeah, I've been from 7 to 8 or 8 to 6. But it works though.
I run it through the USB. You guys it does, but I would have to yeah, when probably down
It's fun.
Yeah, right.
They're like, yeah, that sounds great. We're like, all right, we like that too. You get to do it, there you go. Okay, and then you have to just use that.
And so we did network investors.
I don't know what the firewall here is gonna let you do that. Okay, it's up, good.
Yeah, I'll pop back.
Use the word runway.
Because with it being a short presentation, then I'll just show them live.
Whatever you want.
Just Anthony.
Open those in.
Hey, Anthony.
If you
Oh,
go-
right,
Great,
you
you
are.
Anthony.
I'm trying to get this one.
Hello, good morning.
Great
We're gonna start in 2 minutes or
I've done
less,
this,
just as soon as I finish this coffee.
Oh, I can know himself for an idea of me.
So you've already
Yeah.
explained the deal,
Yep,
Great.
Thank you.
I can write it in a PDF for you if you
Otherwise,
want,
I'm
but if you
busy.
can't yourself.
Well, I'm not gonna be there today,
I wish you the best.
but I have to get home for a training. Oh, yeah. Brian's always on
Invoice directly.
right away.
Yes.
Why?
Because I have to go through an elaborate process to get paid by the college.
Oh, yeah, right.
So if I get an invoice in here now, then I in 3 months will get paid by the school.
That's hilarious. Round robin.
Yes.
Are you in again?
I mean, when,
I'll-
if I'm around on it,
Oh, I
yeah.
got one here.
You know the best thing about using good security practices, eventually whatever you were trying to do becomes so unimportant, you just give up. Well, I guess I didn't know
Two-factor.
I got hardware-based two-factor now, and that has been a debacle.
Fun technology.
Just one account is only confusion.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, now we're this became home of my guns.
This is
Hey,
great.
how you doing, TJ?
You went
Nice to meet you, bud. Ed.
And one
Nice to
more
meet you.
person.
Yeah, so that.
So what was the consultant for 17 years there, the cybersecurity consultant?
That's really what it's about for me right now. If you like what I told you.
We were literally waiting.
What?
It's exactly.
Independent advisor.
So we're thinking today, we need your class.
Do you have like a leaning?
Okay, folks.
You'd like to?
Um, exploring.
I just heard you.
Good morning. Hello.
Kind of,
I appreciate y'all coming out. A lot of you are regulars, so you know the shtick, but some of you are new. Who's new, first time? Okay, 2, 3, 4. Oh, good. Okay, and there's a bunch of people watching. There'll be people watching from home too this time. We got a more virtual turnout than we usually we get a bigger room here. So as soon as you're good, I'm gonna jump back to your yeah, my tab. The one says F30.
Oh, okay, good.
Or is it very crucial?
Oh, actually, if there is, I just jumped in there.
Okay. So, as for those of you who've heard this 100 times, I apologize, but this is for our 4 new folks. This program is called F30 or Founders 30. It originated in 2019 when we started up Startup Bucks. And Startup Bucks is a nonprofit organization, and we're hoping to build a diversified startup ecosystem in Bucks County. By diversified, we mean literally diversified in every conceivable definition. Types of industries, types of people, old sectors, new sectors, but we want Bucks County to be more than an economic monoculture. So that's what we do. We work with a lot of adjacent organizations, but Startup Bucks has 3 major program areas. The first is to gather the people and ideas to catalyze those who want to start a business. There's a typo on your office hours, so I like that. We meet once a month, the week before F30. We go somewhere and we just hang out and we talk, and various people show up who want to start a business, thought about starting a business, have started a business, don't know, or just want to have a beer or whatever with people. So we gather. We also go around. We're constantly looking for people who either have started or will start a business. We're always saying, "Yeah, go ahead, go for it. We'll help you out. We'll cut through red tape. We know people." When you say, "I know a guy," that's us. I know a guy. Grow is once you've done it, you've made the leap. You're starting a business. You've started a business, and you're at that really tough phase between like 0 to 5 employees, thereabout, or maybe 0 to a little bit more than 5. How do you grow the business? Help the founders as they grow. This F30 session is really the hub of that that program area of growth, helping founders grow and get over the initial hurdles, do the hard stuff to get going so they can go to the next phase, which is go. Go beyond starting up. Get capital from other places. Get capital in the form of investments, in form of convertible notes, in form of anything. Get acquired. Go, and we have it's called the Bucks Built program, in which we find people with money or entities with money, such as the Bucks County Industrial Development Authority, and we say, hey, you have money, they need money. We'll help you figure out, which ones of these companies have their act together the most. If they don't have their act together, we'll help them. We'll connect them with resources. We'll connect the capital to you, outsider, outside entity. We'll get new startups that you wouldn't find on your own. So it's not like the maybe the accelerators or anything, because we don't take a piece. We don't take money for that. We're not a business, we're a nonprofit. So we do in the go phase a lot of things accelerators do, but we do it for free. And we help you go beyond, and ideally you don't need Startup Bucks anymore, and you turn around and you go back into the gather phase and you sit in the audience and start helping another founder. We have a lot of founders, we have CEOs. Barry on our board of directors there is a CEO of Alps, which is a big, scary company down in the South End, and they do very cool things. We have, he's on the board. We have Liz Siggety over here, who is from Fox Rothschild, who is actually funding Founders 30, and she's your managing partner, what's your
I'm the chair of the emerging companies.
Yeah, so she does a lot of great legal work with startups and emerging companies. So you've got serious folks in the room who kind of help and work in the Startup Bucks ecosystem. Jen Garbella's over here. She'll introduce herself later, but she does all kinds of cool things. By the way, just say Fox Rothschild, super big supporter. And Community Bank gives us money, not only to help run programs, but they've given us a grant program that in October, November, we're going to be doing through Bucks Built a series of grants for small businesses, basically small, 5-person businesses. Details will be coming out by email shortly. That program just got kicked off last week. The Bucks County IDA, as I had mentioned, has been a tremendous supporter. TJ Longerham is the head of that, and we meet monthly and talk about all those brilliant ideas that he has, and then he helps us work with them. Very, very proactive organization. The Biotech Center, right here. They gave me a key so I can come here and hang out anytime I want.
Oh, no.
I can use office space here and do these meetings, and they give it all for free, and they let me use the kitchen. I can drink all the coffee I want. It's amazing. It's the best sponsorship ever. If you believe in Slack, a lot of people do, a lot of people don't, and you want to communicate with folks later on Slack, there is occasional activity. It's getting better. On Slack, we do have a Slack group, and occasionally people do post questions, and they do get answered. We're trying to build up that online community. If you have a better idea for where to do an online community, we're open to it. Let me know. We got Rhea and Sanjana of Highway Collective, who are now writing the emails and doing our website and all that stuff. The fun story about them is they started as interns for Startup Bucks, learned a lot from all the startups, and started up an agency. And yes, it's kind of a virtuous circle. Yes, we did hire them. Yes, there was some competitive stuff, but they're actually doing our work. So they're proving the story. So they're good kids. Like they're twins. But anyway, they're good people. So we like them. To see our events calendar, it's easy, startupbucks.org/events. It's a calendar, you can look at it. All right, this is the key. This is the thing about F30, and for the newbies in the room, pay close attention. We're gonna have a founder up here, and they're gonna tell you honestly about what's going on with their business. This is not an investor pitch where like everything is unicorns and rainbows. This is real. This is reality. This is a real founder telling you real stories. They're going to give you several questions, 3 or 4 questions. Your job is to answer the questions. You don't ask them, you answer their questions. We flip it. It's an answer, it's not a question session. So your job as the audience is to use your experience, use your connections, use your knowledge, and help that founder out. Actionable answers. You can ask a clarifying question if you're preparing an answer. But you can't say like, why did you choose that logo color unless the presenter said, what do you think of my logo color? Okay, it's about the founder, okay? That's what it's for. And that's why people have been coming to this, and that's why we've successfully run. This is our 279th F30 session. I counted them, 279 since 2019. We used to do them weekly and online, but we've done this 279 times. There's over $10 million in new business, 0 to $10 million in actual valuation from founders who've been through. In fact, some of them are even bigger, but I don't count them. Zero Eyes recently got a $100 million round. They presented in the early version of this. So this helps. This thing helps. And so you can be a part of that. So with that said, I think we have 2 Anthonys today, right?
Yeah,
We're now only, in September, we will only be featuring speakers named Anthony. And so first is Anthony, how do you pronounce your last name?
Turco.
Turco. Anthony Turco is here, and he's got a newish company.
Very new, yeah.
Very new company. It's called called Pulse, I think. And I'm gonna just hand it over to you.
Great, thank you.
Remember the microphones for the whole audience. You don't need to use it.
All right, thank you very much.
Don't show everybody my Gmail. Thank you.
Okay, let me get my email out of the way too. Put it on the desktop.
Yeah.
And it's all sharing the screen, right? for
Yeah,
this?
but it's
Okay.
actually sharing the room. It's not sharing the screen, so it's
Oh,
showing.
yeah, it's perfect, excellent, excellent.
So you can go to presentation.
So, thank you very much, everybody, it's good to be here. I wanted just to, so I'm gonna kind of jump around, because I know this is a very short form, so it can be a quick overview of Polls. What I aim for Polls to be is a new social media network that focuses on polls as the main driving force of content. So, if you've been on various social media networks, you have Twitter, you have your 250 character limit, so short form answers, TikTok is short form videos, Instagram, Pinterest is more picture oriented, right? So polls, and what I want to do as the main driving force is going to be that polling content. What I want to do too is just to give you a chance to scan this. So I have already loaded up some polls. So if you want to just scan this with your phone, I'm not going to force everybody to log in. It's a very simple login process, just email and name. It's not a public launch yet. I'm going to be doing that shortly, but this will get you to the network where you can sign in and then actually see the polls that I've created for this presentation. Basically, how did I do? How am I doing? What's important to investors? So the idea is that you can.
Anthony, I don't think it's working.
I don't think it's over. I cropped out the corners.
Corners are killing you.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not a problem.
So
So
click on it.
You want a minute?
yeah, not a problem. So what I'll do is I've already had it loaded here, so I can share a QR code.
There you go.
I think that'll work.
Thank you.
Hang on a second, let me see if that gets working.
Let's try to.
Does that work?
There we go.
Yeah.
That works?
Wait.
If not, I can make it bigger.
Okay.
Thank
Definitely.
Good. Okay, so that kind of demonstrates a little bit too, just the kind of the power of where I want to take this with like this from a QR code, so this is a kind of offline promotion of it. So I set up a polling channel, so I'm just going to walk you guys through the network how I got there. So this is the homepage. This is my account. You'll see I have tons of polls, kind of the one I just created. Had to stop off, use the restroom at the local Wawa. They had a hand dryer instead of paper towels. I thought, you know what, what's everybody think about paper towels versus hand dryers? So you can go with, funny little nuanced polls like this. I created stuff for you. This is a new update where I can add images, GIFs, videos of, okay, well, what's important to you as an investor? You can select all that. Now, I did not activate that, so if I was, I'll just kind of show you what it looks like if I was, scalable business model. If I click that, it will then show you the results. So wait until you make an action for you to see the results. And then fun polls, obviously, that you can do, big eagles, things like that. Now, what I need for you guys is the actual channels. You can create polling channels, and if you have a particular category or topic that makes sense, you have, I just attended the MEDV and Temple, where they had a bunch of presentations. I created some polls there about how those presentations went. This is a kind of a final four bar madness that I do with my friends. We have Temple University Education. There's a bunch of, I'm a big movie fan, so that's probably about a bunch of polls. So you can connect with me on this network. It's just a turbo you can follow. It has a lot of the same functions as most of the other social media networks, right? You can follow people to see what polls are trending, just like Twitter has what stories are trending, and we have what polls are trending. So it's not a very different mechanism from most of these social networks that you're familiar with. So that is a general overview of polls. And like I said, very early phases right now. I'm going to jump back to the deck and kind of show you what I have planned and what's live currently and what's coming down the road. And what's coming down the road is more or less where my questions to you will come from. You can see right now the live elements that are on there. You can upload videos. You can offline poll through QR codes. You can follow other pollsters. You can look at what's top trending. Where the additional features are pending is where funding is needed. It's where the more cost prohibitive items are. You have sponsor polls, third-party monetization of polls. I'll spend most of the time on that, just because that's where the investors want to see is how you make money. It's going to work the same way as you would to use YouTube as an example. If you create very good content on YouTube, other advertisers would be willing to advertise before your video starts. You also could, so obviously polls would take a percentage of what we pay that poll creator for creating really good content that is generating those advertising dollars. You also have sponsored polls. I use, if you would take Bryce Harper as a example, imagine he is in the polls network, wants to get his fans' opinion on a new watch line that he wants to launch, so he creates a poll, but he wants to get that and reach as many people as possible. He can sponsor that poll. That poll will essentially sit right above, so when you log in to the Polls network, the poll will sit right above in a sponsored way. So that was the most recent poll that I created, that's why that's up top. But the sponsored polls will sit above everyone's polls feed. Live polling, so imagine you're at a concert, you can have the QR code up there, your guests scan it at the concert, they can vote for what song to play after the break, for the encore, right? So it's just more or less giving a faster interactive ability. I want to do AI and ChatGPT, so if you have a poll idea, you throw it into ChatGPT, hey, create this poll, it's integrated to the network, it goes up significantly faster. So those are some of the things that I'm looking at doing. And I think the biggest question, just to answer the questions respect the time, the biggest question I have is kind of two of them. Is one, just give me your honest opinion on the network and what you think of it as far as from an idea perspective. And then number two is, how do I get to funding for these additional things? And in kind of tangent with that question is, what is important as an investor, what you want to see? You want to see growth in the users? Is it steady growth? Is it exponential growth? What is a good number for you to say, okay, you have 1,000 users in 2 months. That is what I want to see. Or is it 10,000 users in 6 months? That's kind of my biggest thing, because I want to show that it's working and that people like the network and they enjoy the network. I just don't know what that kind of number is. And from an investor standpoint, what would that number be to you in terms of user growth that would show, hey, I believe in PulseIt, I believe it's working. So I'll pause there as my two questions of how do I get there, what do you want to see from the user count standpoint, and then what do you think of the network. So I'll pause there.
Thank you.
Are you done with your presentation?
Yeah, I was just following just to kind of a fast, move through it pretty quickly, so I just wanted to get to the questions.
Okay, so I'll take the mic and then
Okay,
we'll go into questions
perfect.
for again. It's a little easier. Okay, so we have 2 questions. How do we get to the funding and what do you want to see as an investor? I do have a question for you. Does this integrate with other social media sites? We all know that I always have a lot of questions.
So, do I need to use this mic or?
Do we have another mic?
Yeah,
There isn't, yeah, there was one.
Just turn it on. And we don't have to be quiet on the mic, because it's just for the YouTube stream.
Gotcha. Check. Yeah. So the question was, does it integrate with other social networks? So that is, yes and no. So the goal is for an API to integrate live with other networks. So if you can imagine a YouTube streamer, that's too loud. Okay. If you can imagine a YouTube streamer or a Twitch streamer that's playing a game and asking people, hey, what's the next level should I go to? Well, we want to integrate live with that. Right now, you can share any poll you want on any social network, and it will work. So that is a yes and no.
Great. Who's got a comment? Anybody? Yeah, Don.
I would say users versus engagements, because you can have users, but how many polls are they ongoing and engaging with? So to me, I don't know what the metric would be, but I would be looking at engagement rather than, or maybe along the line with users. Since I gave an answer, I have a question. Does can it be integrated into another embedded, like we use Match, we have for char and carbon capture around the world, we have an ecosystem of about 250 top guys in carbon reduction removal, and we use Mighty as our engagement platform, but its polling, it doesn't match to this.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering, can this be taken and dropped into another platform?
Absolutely. As far as taking and dropped into a platform, I would say no. People would have to integrate and use it right through the social network of the app.polsit.com. But that's why I was showing you the channel creation. So as a business, you can create a business account and set up your polls and put them in a channel. So you know whatever your business name is, you can create a new channel for those polls so that when your workers, whoever wants to access those polls, they can go specifically right in that. So for example, if you have, let's just, pick food, right? That is your business channel. Here's every food poll that I have on here and you can search, the search function works. So it can't integrate directly with whatever you're using.
The short answer is we can link out to it.
You have to log in through the network, right? And anybody that wants to vote, you can share those polls with the whole audience. You drop them in an email, and everybody can log in directly and engage the polls there, so you get feedback.
Right. Who's next? I forgot to hand you the microphone.
Just in terms of from an investor perspective, in terms of user base and how large you're, I think it depends on what is your overall strategy around monetization. Are you charging the businesses X amount? Because then if you talk about X number of businesses, that's a smaller number than if you're just doing like advertising on it, which you probably want a much larger number. So like 1,000 users and you're just doing ads on the site, not a big deal. But you have 1,000 businesses, that's huge, right? So I think you need to lay out that model a bit clearer for any investor funding.
So from just asking a question about what the monetization is. So the goal for the monetization is, where I'll just kind of drop off the Bryce Harper example. I did a wireframe mock-up of just how sponsored polls would work. So this would be an example of that. So short answer is monetization would be through third-party ads and sponsored ads for brands. So to your point about how businesses can use this to get their brand. Again, Bryce Harper, most athletes now are both brands and professional athletes, right? They have their own brand. Imagine he creates a poll, help us, choose the next watch, here's the description. Here are the answers, the responses. Should I do a chronograph functionality, customizable straps, different patterns, you specify the day, the channel, and then your demographics, who you want to advertise, set the daily budget, and for every click or poll engagement, right? If you're familiar with how Google Ads work, it would be the same functionality for them to engage. Polls, it would take a cut of that ad. For the third party advertisement, I'm just going to show you how that works. Let's see here. Okay, so if you have, so right now, so let's say that you have, this is good. We're going to just say that Bryce Harper creates a native poll. Basically, what we're saying is he didn't sponsor it, but it's a poll. He's Bryce Harper. It's a ton of engagement because he's asking, what should the next jersey patch be that I should that I can wear, headband or bandana or whatever. So Rawlings they see that ad that gets 190,000 engagements. So what Rawlings does is they put an ad before you can actually see the responses of the poll, before you can actually engage, so you have to watch it and or skip it. Again, similar to how YouTube works, right? You have to watch a 5-second video, 15-second video before you can actually watch the video you want. Before you can engage the poll you want, you have to watch a video. So Rawlings pays Bryce Harper because Bryce Harper created the content that generated that many people to engage his ads. So Bryce Harper is able to monetize that, and he goes into his account and he sees, okay, the ad made an ad for GQ. It reaches, it has 6 million clicks. He gets 30,000 from it. So that's how the ad monetization would work.
Go back to the Bryce Harper thing, please. Yeah, no, the one with the billing, slide 41.
Oh, for the
Who is giving you money in this scenario? Bryce Harper. Who is this?
so this
Who's giving you $27,000?
So this is Bryce Harper's account. So this would be
Bryce is a person, not an ad agency.
correct.
Okay,
Correct.
because it sounds like an ad agency. But the point is who got the $27,000? This is my investor. I'm going down the investor Q&A.
Yep.
Whose money is that, and whose pocket does it go into?
So that 27,000 of that income would go to Bryce Harper because this is his account. He advertised. He put that poll that I showed you.
So he's
that native poll, and Rawlings advertised on it. The Rawlings ad got 20 million impressions. It got 6 million clicks through. So it generated 30,000 in ad revenue. These are just made up numbers.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to get to. You got 3K.
Would be Pulse's fee, so 10% of the total ad revenue. The difference would go to the content creator.
Okay, I'm gonna do an investor Q&A, and I'm gonna do that based on a company that I'm running right now. We just turned off all of our online advertising because it's not worth it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going more with SaaS, PaaS, and directly buying services. So polling services and stuff like that. I would definitely, as an investor, look for a straight-on services. Let somebody else do the ad revenue. Let somebody, you charge a fee per seat or fee per poll. The other thing, as an investor, the answer I'm giving you as an answer is when I'm looking at your, you go slide 30 something, anything with a video ad in it, anything with a video content, any of your content, there, that. Who's hosting that content? Is that you?
Yes.
What's your hosting platform right now?
So right now we're on through Amazon.
Okay, do the math, and you're gonna find that hosting video and hosting all that other stuff is gonna lead to S3 and other AWS storage costs that are gonna be astronomical and will destroy your profitability.
Mm-hmm.
So that type of multimedia content, you may not want to include that because I'm looking at your infrastructure costs, and I'm looking at your overall platform operations costs as something I would want to see spelled out very, very clearly, because if you don't get to a point where it costs less to serve a poll than you're earning from it, you're never going to be profitable.
It's a great point, and I think we tried to do scale it up to about 1,000 polls if they included video, where I would be comfortable with those costs, but definitely if it catches on and it grows exponentially, I have triggers in place with my development team to say, okay, what do we have to do to make sure that we're covering those costs? But the rich media, I think is important. I think because it sets it apart. Just for just jumping back to the actual polls that I created. Specifically when you're talking about what made the Pulp Fiction apartment scene so critical, to have the video there as a reminder, allow people to watch it, and then they can vote. This is kind of the core inspiration as to why I created Polls It, is because for me, if you watch this clip on YouTube, the only feedback that you can really think about, what does people really feel about this, you have to read what's probably 5,000 comments. So that's why I said, well, let's shorten it, just get your opinion right up front, and then you can have the comments underneath if you still want to look at that.
Hi, so you know where I'm coming from. In addition to being an attorney that works with companies who are raising funds and going through different levels of development, I'm kind of an angel group. And I've been running for 20 years, so I'm an angel investor. It's not a simple question, how to get the funding. There's a lot that we need. For something like this, you do need adoption and, showing that it's being adopted and that your projections that you'll give to the investors are based on some sort of fact. The other thing you're gonna have to really delve into is competition and market, how you're going to break into the market. There are other polling technologies out there, at least when I'm in conferences, I see, polling technologies that can be used. That might be a market you might want to think about, if yours is better, if it's a little clunky, where, you can pull the conference and get the opinions from people. And that can be a really great tool, and that would be paid for. Of course, by the conference, so that's really good. I really liked a lot of Marty's comments. But when you're a technology in a space that is potentially very competitive, it is a vicious circle. I mean, people want to see that you're growing and making money in order to invest in you. At least when you get to the angel investment level, there are a lot of incubators and accelerators out there. I mean, Startup Bus has a lot of aspects of that, but there's others as well. That you might want to consider. Some of them will invest $250,000, got to give equity, more of a pay to play, but they also have a lot of expertise and connections. So you might want to think about that.
Is there, just to go back on my one question, is there a number of users? Because I would agree it's more, it's more user based than it is for, and I answer that so that you can see what those numbers look like on the screen. Is there a user base within a certain time that you as investors would go, okay, I think that's working. And again, there may not be a right or wrong answer to it. I just don't know. I don't know what an outside person, I think maybe 10,000 users in the span of 3 months would be really great, but I don't know. I could go to somebody that's willing to, an investor go, well, no, we want to see 100,000. So that would be my question is what's a good number to shoot for? So when I do publicly launch this, I'm going to be sharing polls every day through my Facebook, through my Twitter, through my Instagram about relevant topics. Obviously, the election coming up, the Eagles season just started. There's a lot of things that I can share to grow user base, but I'm an analytical person, so I want to know, okay, I shared 4 polls, I got 10 users, so if I share 6 polls, can I get 20 users the next day? And that should grow exponentially as people want to network, they create their own polls and drive their own value. So is there a number that anybody would go, wow, if this was mine, I'd like to see 10,000?
I'll give this to somebody else. I don't have a number. I think it all links into monetization.
Okay.
And how you're gonna, on the East Coast, it's gonna be how you make money. On the West Coast, maybe if you get a million users, that's it. I don't know.
The East Coast is all about the dollars.
So I do have while we're going, Mike, I do have a plan. Once at 10,000 users, there is a third-party monetization. Basically, instead of paying all this money to build an ad monetization directly on Polls It, you can use a third-party company that basically handles the advertisement. My target was around 10,000 users to start the monetization process, because I agree, I have to show some type of revenue at some point.
To
basically say what Liz said a little bit, deeper. If you can tie average daily users to revenue and profitability, that's when that number doesn't matter unless it's tied to what are you showing. So do you have so average daily users first, then advertisers? Do you actually have advertisers and revenue, and what does that look like? You'll be able to answer that question when you back it all into what the investors are really
All on a
looking
revenue
for.
per user basis
Yeah.
is a good metric.
And another idea, I guess, from the advertising piece, you've got something that not a lot of ad platforms have, which is interactivity potentially. So the advertiser, the users are actually interacting with the ads, and it's not just a click, right? So yes, or you might charge them based on a click but if your advertiser has a poll, think about if there's a way legally to structure it so that engaged users on that who are logged in and you have their info, if the advertiser can have that info in the process, this suddenly becomes a lot more attractive to advertisers, even if you don't just dish out email addresses, but give them a communication platform, and that could be part of the story. So
that's one of the things where I came up with this linked account. So let me just sorry, when I don't go on the order, it's hard to find it. Here we go. Is if the whole idea with polls it being a way for brands to get feedback on major decisions, I think is twofold. One, you have fans let's just use Bud Light as an example. We know as advertisers, they drop a ball and they lost a lot of market share. Using a platform like Hold It, if they would go out and actually ask people their opinion about, hey, what do you want us to do? What do you want to see for our next commercial? Do you want us to bring the Bud Light back? I actually have a whole video of kind of how the NFL and Bud Light can partner called Movie Commercials, basically like, tell us what you want to see. Here's a poll, we'll sponsor that poll, but you get feedback on it. And I think the second part of why it's good for brands is it technically absolves them from facing market decisions that they made that essentially drop the ball, because they can always go and say, well, we listened to the fans, we listened to our poll, they have the data to show it. And what I like with polls it is it's social. Yes, all the other social networks have polling. You can see Twitter polls, but this is predominantly only driven by polling content. This is the linked accounts. So for example, Bryce Harper, we'll go in. So anytime you see Rawlings up here, Bryce, that's whose account you're in. So we're in Rawlings' account right now. Because Bryce Harper followed them, they can send a link request to Bryce Harper. He gets a notification, he approves it. So now your data link request has been approved by Rawlings. So now Bryce Harper and Rawlings are now sharing their data. Now I don't have the reporting that backend set up, the robust reporting that's needed, but essentially what that means is that Rawlings, anybody that interacts with their polls, that demographic gets to share that data with Bryce Harper. Rawlings, baseball company, it would make sense for Bryce Harper to get access to that data. So now brands can collaborate on meaningful demographics that relate to their business with other brands. Same thing, Bud Light and the NFL sharing data. Yes.
Yes. To your point, and it's my question about it, is make money, you're gonna have to find ways to monetize things. Okay. So your point with Rawlings and the information being gathered, is there an opportunity perhaps down the road where you can monetize that by providing market research on specific topics to other industries, and that would almost be a sideline. And that would certainly provide value to a lot of companies if you're able to build your base on it.
Absolutely, and I think so. My background, just so that it's a great question. And my background is in digital marketing, advertising. I've been that for 14 years. And there's a reason why all these platforms are free, right? Because in the terms and conditions, you sign up that they can use your data and index it in Google, and you'll see Twitter now comes up in Google searches. It's organic content that I created that's publicly available. You sign off for that. So I think for Rawlings and Bryce Harper to have a free account on Polls It, giving up that data saying, hey, you can use the data you generated, but at the end of the day, Polls It owns the data because it's our network. And we can use that to say, hey, Reuters or Fox or CNN, here's data that we're seeing on the upcoming election based off of all of these polls that we have from our pollsters in our network, would you want this for a fee? Absolutely, that's it. And I didn't think of it as a way of monetizing it. I thought, well, that's a benefit, but you're right, you can sell that data.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's street good product, so, you just gotta figure out what you can do.
Absolutely, great point.
Anything else, or do you want to get into the next one?
Got one back here, let's just move it.
Yeah, I'll be quick, just building upon that, and I was thinking about this earlier, I'm not sure the difference between a poll and a survey, but I know that there are a lot of analysts out there, Forrester, Gartner, they do surveys, I believe, but it seems to me that you're collecting data that would be very valuable for someone who is looking to gather information from their clients or prospective clients. And I saw AI on one of your earlier slides, so I don't know if that's something that you're delving into. It seems to me that it would be a pretty unique proposition if you could.
I agree. I think my vision with polls is I go on YouTube. I'm sure we all know visit social networks. I'm always amazed by the creativity that people have that create YouTube content. These are people that get millions and millions of followers. Just because it's opening a box, a toy with your kid, the way they create it. And I look at polls, and surveys are done to death. Did you like this? Yes, no, maybe, good, bad. It's very simple. Whereas this gives you the freedom to create your own question, your own responses, and create a series of polls. So as a business owner that's a small business restaurant that wants to know, what flavor pizza next, or what should we add onto the menu, you can get very creative with that, and you can send it to, once this gets developed more, target people within the Doylestown community, because those are people that are going to come to the local pizza place. And you have a series of polls. Bob's Pizza, here's my channel, next food, and you have all these polls. So it's not just one poll, it's a interaction, it's a feedback community. And one last point, my biggest thing with social networks is why I created polls is because people access social media, they want to get information, but they have an opinion already. When you look at a post on social media, whether politics, sports, it doesn't matter, best action movie, you have an opinion in my head. I think Indiana Jones is the best action movie. When I see a poll, well, I need to know, I need to validate my opinion. I need to see, is Indiana Jones on the list? What number is it in terms of how many votes did it get? And if it's not, I'm going to create my own poll and put it on there. So I think that's part of that validation. I think we have time for one more. Mark, is that right?
Just one more.
Yeah, I actually have a comment.
Jen is yeah.
Polls are the hot thing in social, right, Brian, we can tell you this. People love polls. The quicker, so I understand where you might not want to integrate with a Facebook, right, because they have their own polling thing. But there are coaches, digital marketing coaches out there who gear their entire business around teaching people how to use polls to effectively drive traffic to their website and book a call, right? So the quicker though that you can people can easily integrate this on their own website, to have a blog, to have a poll running under a blog, and then make the sign up process easy. So you know how you click that button with Google, sign up with your Google account or sign up with your Facebook, do that, then this will become, for people who are not tech savvy, then it becomes very easy to use this. Just having another site may be cumbersome because like how many sites do we sign up with? And then we need another password, and then we have to reset the password when we forget it, and that's just too much. So that was my one comment. Does anyone have anything else to say? Okay, great. Well, we are going to take a 10-minute break, Marty? 5-minute break?
Let's see, it's 10 of, let's make it a 7-minute break.
We're going to take a 7-minute break. That's weird, but that's us. And then
You should do everything in 6 and 12-minute increments if you want everything to land like an hour. Just so you know.
Well, thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I don't know if you really didn't know that.
Well,
Yeah. I'm good.
The point is.
Putting it there, so I don't. Hi.
My browser's still open.
Yeah, that's because I
That's cool.
I know, I got it.
No, I appreciate that, thank you.
It's not my presentation.
Send it over to the team.
That's Marty.
Yes. Oh, another presenter, okay. I would
Marty
love
gets
to
very
talk to you
excited.
right this second, but I'm going to shake your hand and say we'll talk at the school. Yeah, awesome. Thanks. Team, just TPA. No team. Oh, wait.
Okay. Is that phrase still being used?
It's don't send me something from my kids. I mean, you don't want free iPads.
Oh, no, I meant the phrase Internet of Things. Oh, that's so funny.
I'm waiting on the wire thing.
Got it. Yeah, I did, digital marketing, social media, blogging for. Internet of Things.
Don't have to have a background.
Yeah.
Don't have to have a background.
Oh, you don't have to.
Just anything, white screen or anything. Because we can't hear the class. We can't hear the part of the class.
Well, I didn't.
He's really
I'm here.
So we're talking about this, like,
Oh, no,
makes you wish I had.
Rising work.
Cellular.
Yeah, just,
Just
we can't have, we can't have.
I live,
Second
Yeah, I'm
and then, more recently. Now, do you think?
I just want to get this all set up.
Absolutely, yeah.
Somebody tell me we're out of coffee cups, I'll get some more.
Actually, the old
And can I get you guys together?
Sure. Really? Yeah, so I spent most of the last, I spent about 20 years. It's funny, because I do business, I'm learning about all these businesses. It's so much fun to attack by.
Here's the fact.
Right before. And just hopefully not.
You're gonna absolutely love the intro I just like. We got more coffee cups.
That's where money
I used to be very, very shy and great. My department he was so wonderful. So I was very analytical, a numbers guy. He went out and got all the finance, sales with it, and I learned from him watching him on the mic and person It's been a rough year, but she's better now. She's just so we have another person named Anthony. So September is Anthony month. That's our parent startup hubs. So first of all, I'm obligated to do a full disclosure. I have purchased stuff from Anthony's company.
Yay.
And it has made my wife insanely happy because she has special tools that she uses in her job as a ceramics artist and needed specially made custom designed holders for those tools. And I bought product from him and designed and machined the stuff he sold me, and it made her insanely happy. So this is a good thing. Okay. So Anthony has presented several other times for earlier versions of Founders 30. I believe we found you some funding too, right?
A little bit, yeah.
So through the BUILD program, Anthony's company has received funds from outside entities. We don't do funding and startup bugs, we just find it for you. And he's got a really cool thing going here. And the most important thing I want you to know about this company is that this is one of these companies that actually has a real purpose behind it too. It's not just a cool product, it's a cool purpose. And I really hope you can help him out with whatever questions he has. I have not previewed this deck. I don't know what he's going to do, but I trust that this guy, as one of the smartest people I've ever met, will ask you excellent questions. I hope you give excellent answers. Thank you.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whoever you are, wherever you are on the interwebs. Hello, webcam, but also hello to everybody in the room. So my name's Anthony Credo. I'm one of the co-founders of Scene Oil. My other co-founder is also my wife. She is Rachel Credo. I'm a mechanical engineer. She is an environmental engineer. And we are trying to create an invaluable world built by valuable waste. What do we mean by that? Well, Xenoil is a logistics and manufacturing company focused on remanufacturing plastics into usable products, whether it be in construction or housing or, you know, a variety of other things, including metalworking, home consumer machining and manufacturing, things like that. So one of the biggest things that we set out for is figuring out how sustainability, supply chain, all of those things work and how can we improve it, especially since COVID-19 kind of messed some of that up. But one thing that we're doing right now is we're working on improving resource efficiency, including waste management by using recycled materials, improving supply chain sustainability by reducing scope 2 and 3 emissions, by reducing, you know, the amount of trucking that's needed from taking things place to place. The high cost of sustainable technology. There's tons and tons of, you know, technologies that are up and coming, you know, carbon capture, things like that, but all of that needs to come down. Solar panels, they started off like millions of dollars in the early 2000s, but now you're gonna get a solar panel for, you know, dollars for the kilowatt. So it's kind of amazing. Regulatory and compliance issues. Kind of see that now with, you know, PFAS, being regulated now. You see that with, carbon taxes coming out potentially now, things like that. And then also, finally, the thing that we're focusing on, and we'll get into it later, is balancing sustainability and profitability. How do you make a sustainable product that's also, makes everyone money? So this is just, a proposed Xenol facility. Our shop is much messier and much dirtier right now because we're in the middle of a construction project. So please excuse the lack of photos. But we are focusing on developing our 3 products and getting them into full-scale production finally. We have XenoWax, XenoFiber, and XenoMold. So XenoWax is basically, it's a plasticized wax compound that's used in metalworking, prototyping, investment casting, metal product manufacturing, things like that. It's used by machinists to prototype a component that would be made out of, steel, aluminum, things like that. You can do it at, a quarter of the cost at like half to 4 times the speed roughly. So you can prototype faster and cheaper, do more iterations, get that product or that component to a much higher quality than you would have, on your original prototyping budget. And basically, we started our company with this. We started this back in 2017, 2 kids on a Coleman stove back in my parents' yard. We were a ragtag group back when we started, but now we have 2 vats that can do up to 3 tons of product at a single time. We can produce many different shapes and varieties very, very quickly. Next product is XenoFiber. So who here in the room, raise your hand, does 3D printing? Okay. So this product is basically a 3D printing filament, but it is made out of 100% recycled plastic. We're working on figuring out the supply chain with that. One of the biggest problems with 100% recycled plastic products is you end up with contamination, different materials that are mixed in, things like that. So we've worked with several companies to clean up and be able to supply a clean resource to be able to produce high quality filament that can compete with virgin material that you see on Amazon or anything like that, that's coming out of China for, a third of the cost of what it takes an American manufacturer to make. So basically with this, we're working on developing a fully automated process. So basically we can have a robot dump the plastic in. There's an operator that would, manage the process during startup, but it would be able to self-automate, and then it can basically pull the product off, manually store it in a warehouse, and then, within our packing system, which would all be cobotics, humans and robots working together, we can come up with a product that is sustainable cheaply here in the United States. And finally, XenoMold. This is a 3D printing, or not a 3D printing technology, but an injection molding technology where basically we are able to reduce the cost of United States manufacturing for injection molding, pennies on the dollar as compared to current injection molding technologies by using insert molding as well as cobotic and robotic systems to basically Amazonize the manufacturing process used in typical injection molding facilities. So with our facility right now, we actually, just within the past 3 months, moved in 6 injection molding presses. We have 2 85-ton presses, a 230-ton press, 2 35-ton presses, as well as a blow molding machine. So we can do a variety of different products, containers, milk jugs. We can do skateboards. One of our presses could even do a full skateboard. We've thought about doing things like that. But basically, each machine would be its own load cell that can operate independently, and it's just modular. As we add more machines to our facility, we just add on another cell, and the robots know, hey, this is a new machine that can be used. And once we figure out that networking system, it could basically self-run with 1 or 2 operators on a 24-hour basis. So we have a number of technologies that we're working on. A lot of them are in production and final stages. Once our facility is up and running, that will all get to 100% complete. We also have, within the yellow, a ton of construction projects, which we're hoping to get started soon, all using our xenomold technology to be able to bring the costs of the production down. One thing that all investors and people in the finance world like is money, and where our projects are coming from and how much they're going to make. So we have 3 different projects right now that we are currently working on, as well as several other ones that are coming up in the pipeline within the next 2-3 months. So several $1 million of current projects that we're working on and getting those up and running. One thing that we are particularly proud of is there was a company that reached out to us back in February that they are one of the leading toy/model manufacturing companies, have been for the past 70 years now, I want to say. We were in discussions with them for about 2-3 months, and they decided to go with us as their only manufacturer in the world to manufacture their product. So currently they manufacture everything in China, and over the next year or 2, as they are needing supply and more product pushed to their retailers, they will be transitioning their manufacturing over to us. So that is a very, very huge opportunity. I'm very happy about it, because when I was a kid, I even used their product. So many of you have also probably done it too. So we have several other projects that coming up for those with lots of hair. There's a cool hairbrush that we're working on. It's basically a Swiss Army hairbrush. 5 or 6 different brushes all on a single little travel size thing. It's pretty cool. So this is the team. We got myself, Christina, my sister, who's helping us with all our administration, Rachel, my director of manufacturing, Andrew Beaver, and then our CFO, Scott Ross. And then we have our chief working officer, Darla. So that's pretty much a little bit about us.
Questions.
Yeah.
What are your questions for us?
So my questions for you, short, sweet, to the point. There you go. So the first question is short-term funding options. So we have contracts for 2 or 3 of these projects, but one of the big things with manufacturing, and one of the big financing troubles with the United States manufacturing right now, especially with the current economic state, is we get contracts signed. We only get a portion of the money to start the project. We don't get all of the money to deliver till delivery. But the thing is, there's many incremental costs in between that. So right now we're looking for short-term funding options, whether it be PO financing, funding tools that are short-term loans. Hopefully not, because I've already looked at those. They're a little expensive. Any kind of funding options, we don't know what's out there. So help with that would be great. We're also looking for contractors. I need a natural gas contractor, a plumber, anything like that, because we're setting up some generators that we need piped in. So if you have anybody, as well as a machine equipment repair person, anybody that does like machine shop work and things like that, connection like that would be great. And then finally, we need more hands on deck. So right now, the only people really doing the manufacturing are myself and Andrew, and we need about 2-3 other bodies in the shop to be able to get these projects to completion. So I'm not sure what options are out there in the way of temporary services, potential contracts, 1099 people, things like that. So anything like that would be great. But also, any questions you guys have would be great. Might have another question that comes out of it.
I want to say that for funding options, is your business in Bucks County?
Yes, it is.
Great, so we need to connect you with TJ Washington of the,
Very, very familiar with them.
Did he not give you money yet?
Well, no, we received the funding from him before, but,
Oh, okay.
Okay, go back to the well.
yeah.
Just wanted to make sure, he's your first stop.
So if memory serves, we presented before, correct?
Yes, it was about 2 years ago.
And last time, one of your questions was how to identify viable and regulatorily compliant, I got that. Feedstocks, were you able to turn that screw successfully, or?
Yes, so it was actually kind of overnight how that happened. Basically, we started to look into kind of the plastics manufacturing side of things and kind of how that's regulated. And much of it was actually based on what is food and like FDA requirements versus other requirements. So it's kind of twofold. There's FDA clearance, and then there's also the consumer protective things like that. So once we started digging into consumer protective laws and things like that, it was actually much easier to figure out what's good, what's bad. You know, how do we clean up the feedstocks to be able to support that? So.
That's a good memory, by the way. You even remembered his questions from last time, that's impressive. Okay.
First of all, you've done some work for us, did a great job, and we're a fan. One thing I would suggest you maybe consider is developing or setting up your own board of advisors, and just pick people with different disciplines where you need help and find somebody. I think that could be a tremendous resource in terms of knowledge and helping you, and you really want some people who are going to question you. We've always had a board of advisors, and some of the best help we got from them was them correcting what we were thinking, which was wrong, and we want that. And so that would be my suggestion to you there. I mean, hands on deck, but it's the mindset that you want to come to, so.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Anyone next? Done.
Just thinking access to technically inclined people, if you need hands on deck to approach MBIT or other tech trade schools, because some of the kids there are just genius.
Yeah, so actually, it was amazing. I want to say end of the school year last year, I actually got the opportunity to connect with and go up to Upper Bucks Technical High School. And we're actually, we're looking to actually do an internship program with them for their machining program. So that way, because mold making is actually becoming a lost art in the United States, let alone machining, but mold making and tool making within that. So it'd be great to be able to educate really young, up and comings for that kind of work.
Yeah, just to pick up what Sean said, Leslie Dahl at Bucks County Community College. Was that what you were gonna say?
Yes, it really was.
We're very interested. She runs workforce development programs, and they train participants to then get placed in companies.
Okay.
So.
I've never met her. So
Oh, I can make that connection for you very easily. Marty, do you want the mic back, or you?
Well, Leslie and also Brian Cummings,
Oh, yeah, right, because they have, what's the program?
Bucks
PA,
County Workforce and Economic
yeah.
Development.
Yeah, but they have a very special, site that you can enter jobs in.
Brian Cummings will help you out.
PA,
somewhere.
something.
Really?
Really, he has
Really,
great training.
awesome.
Yeah.
But Brian will do a lot of legwork for you and filter.
He's the best.
And Leslie
Usually
too.
he's here too.
Yeah, he couldn't make it, he's on vacation or something.
Anyone else? Oh, go ahead, Anthony.
Great presentation, thank you. Now this is a quick question, and I apologize, because I haven't seen this presentation before, it's not even here before, so this question was answered. I apologize. You talked about short-term funding, and seeing sustainability, throughout the deck, and that being a big thing. Sustainability to me sounds like most, it's election season, have you looked at government grants at all, or
So we have
anything around that route?
Yeah, so we have looked at a lot of government grants, things through ARPA-E, DOE-E, SBIR, SBIT, things like that. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of money, even though sustainability is a big thing. Everybody forgets about trash. Nobody wants to deal with trash. So what little bit there is out there is extremely technical, and unfortunately, we would need like a grant writer or a grant writing service. I have been looking at a few, but also many of those technologies are.
One of the things too is I have a brother-in-law that works at U of Penn, and just reaching out to like the local universities as well that we have in this area, and connecting with some of the people in there that might be able to either help with school grants that they have. I think every little bit will help at this point, even if it's not a lot, but to getting into the university grant world, so for short-term funding.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, we're going here and then back to you.
I'm one of the founders, and we are working right now with NSF, who got the grant. And actually, for initial grant for the first phase, you don't need to be very technical, so you can work with them. And it's not like a lot of money, but it's not diluted. It's very important. So you can try to work with Grantify that helped us. And the other agency they are working with is before.
Okay.
So I can give you the names.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
And just on the grant part of it too, because I'm just thinking like, even though it's not a lot of money, it still connects you to the people that are in the grant world that give out grants to other businesses that could connect you to future clients as well. So it's almost like they're paying you to network with them, which if you kind of look at it that way, you know, it might be worthwhile to do that, even if it's a little bit of money.
Okay.
And the government connection always helps.
It seems to me that because you're dealing with waste management, that the untraditional sources of heading out to whitetail waste management or waste management as a company and saying, hey, look, this is what we're doing. Is there any alignments with you that makes sense that you fund us to X, Y, Z? They may be looking to unload a lot of their plastic waste in some way with you and build that relationship.
So that actually comes in where a lot of like the regulatory compliance and figuring that stuff out. So one of the things through all of this that we learned is the materials that Waste Management collects from all of our houses and businesses and things like that, that is waste. Even when they do the recycling and they separate out and they make the giant bales of Coca-Cola cans, not sponsored, and then like, you know, water bottles and all that kind of stuff. Even though that has been separated from the main waste stream, by Pennsylvania law at least, that is still considered waste. So in order for us to be able to receive and process that stuff, we would actually need to become a waste processing company, which there's permits. We have to work with DEP, things like that, in order to be able to work with a full waste stream like that. But we're working with partners who have those abilities right now, so maybe there might be options there.
But that aside, they may still align with the vision and wish to give you money.
Yeah, that's true.
The other thing to consider from the business development side is I know like Novo Nordisk had a partnership with a company similar to yours to make syringes with like sustainable plastic, with green plastic. Is, you know, down the road, consider there's a ton of farm road in this area. You know, are there places that would use your sustainable plastic for their like syringes and that?
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna read Marty's writing here. We just want to remind everybody that the three questions are short-term funding options for contracts, seeking candidates for infrastructure, and more people. Did we get that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Nobody knows a good plumber?
No, I know a ton of plumbers in here.
You're
No
not
one's
the
gonna
most
be an
talented
IT
person
career
in
with a
town.
plumber or a tip group, nothing. I know from my little tip base, I know a bunch, so.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask a question of somebody over there to answer possibly your
Yeah,
question.
here's the mic.
No, this is for Barry. Do you think Jeff Waring knows anybody? Since they do that? Yeah, all right. So you ever hear of Waring's Home Centers?
I think.
They're kind of all around. I know Jeff, family member, they build some commercial stuff. Who knows?
Yeah.
So Jeff, for contractors.
Okay.
So.
TJ's got something.
I'm just thinking from a contact perspective. There's a plumber that I've used multiple times. I don't know if they don't only do residential, but it's Goodman Plumbing. And they do work all over Bucks County, and they've always done good work for us. So if you want, you can connect and I can put in contact with them.
Okay.
And then also in regards to support for people. I can also potentially help you out with that as well. I can kind of guide you in the right direction from that perspective.
Okay, great.
I'd love to hear an answer about the funding thing, if that's my answer.
Go back here.
What type of, I'm sorry,
So on your two requests, I think we can help you in the short-term funding side. I'll send you a potential introduction there. And then on the recruiting side, I know a guy that does this type of placement for tax sitter training to come in and work. So,
Okay.
Anyone else?
all right. Thank you very much, Anthony. Hopefully you'll get some answers in the side conversation. All right, so thank you so much for coming again. I think this is his third time presenting, and I do remember, I do remember the very first time he ever presented because it was a Zoom call, and you were surrounded by random bits of technology. I think the whole thing was running out of like a spare bedroom or garage or
Something like that.
something like that. And this is what we're talking about, the growth stage. This is exactly what F30 is for. How big is your new facility? How many square feet?
It's about 3,000 square feet.
And how big was your desk?
About 4.
Right, so this is what we're talking about, and it's right here in Bucks County, or thereabouts. Are you in Bucks County? Say yes. So the point is helping this guy out and helping both Anthony's out is exactly what we're all about here. Now, to wrap things up and get a little free time to talk among yourselves. It's okay to connect. It's okay to contact. It's okay to reach out to us. I should have a slide that does it. Team, TEAM, @startupbucks.org is our general and purpose inbox. If you have a question, if you have a comment, if you say, hey, that thing the guy said, who was that guy? Get me in touch, or can I get his presentation, or whatever. If you forgot anything, there's several of us, keep an eye on that email. For Startup Bucks itself, we've asked for some volunteers to help out, and we've gotten them, which is great. We have people here who help set up the food in the morning. We're still trying to figure out how to unlock the door in the morning. That hasn't worked out so well. They gave me one of these, but I don't think they're going to give everyone one of those. If you leave it open for more than about 60 seconds, it makes a horrible buzzing noise. But if you're here at the next one next month, which we also do have speakers lined up, they'll be revealed later. If you want to be the door person, that's fine for me. In upcoming Startup Bucks things, I just was interacting with Penn Community Bank while you were talking. Sorry. But yeah, we're getting ahead with the grant program there, and we're also seeking anybody in the investment community who is looking to find another Xenon or something like that. And just think about the growth this guy's had. We've had portfolios. So our grant programs are also something that investment communities or individual investors like to help with because they like to get early access. We are also going to be doing a bunch of new things in 2025, a lot more in-person events. We are going to be holding a small business expo. The cool thing about the small business expo is it's going to be Bucks County-based businesses, a little miniature trade show. We're going to try to combine it with the Penn Community Grant. Celebration, big check, you know the deal, stuff like that. So if you want to be a part of that, you want to have a table, contact us at Team. It'd be super cheap. It's really more about kind of an extension of bringing business, bringing diversified ecosystems here to Bucks County, as I've said, and I'll keep saying. So we just have a few minutes left. I'd like to leave about a half hour for people to chat. One thing, if you know me, I hate leftovers. I can't stand it. I hate food waste. I will not throw away any food. I'll bring some bags out, take food home for your friends, for your family, for your dog, for whatever. Please take all the food with you and feel free. If you want to drink the coffee straight out of the box, that's fine. So anyway, that's all for now. Please talk among yourselves. Oh my God, I forgot your name. I'm drawing a blank. DJ. He's got a very cool thing. He's got this fractional HR service that will help your business get its poop together when it comes to the HR side of things. Maybe small companies can't afford an HR guy. So I'm talking, just full disclosure, company I run, we're talking about him running our American-based HR because it's a shambles. So we're trying to fix that up. So anyway, he's here to talk. Our board, Barry's here to talk. I'm here to talk. So talk among yourselves. Thank you.
Where you go? Did you have your own business?